In my last video, I was talking about the burden of expectation when it comes to a film. I am very fortunate that I've managed to thread the needle when it comes to The Running Man, because surprisingly, I have not seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger adaptation, and I have not read the Stephen King story it's originally based on. So I could come at this version of The Running Man completely fresh. I am aware of what the story is, that it is a sort of dystopian world where a man fights for his freedom in a world where people's lives are treated like a game show. That exists in, my understanding is that exists in both the Schwarzenegger adaptation and the original story. But I have nothing to compare it to, so going in, I could just watch it with this wacky sci-fi premise and just sort of go from there. And with that in mind, I actually really had a good time. I mean, I have said ad nauseum now that Stephen King has dominated this year, and The Running Man is a nice cap to the year of Stephen King adaptations, because it is different from The Long Walk or The Monkey, and it's horror-ish, I suppose, in terms of maybe the greater themes, but it's not a horror outright. It's not a comedy. It's very much an action film with a satirical tone to it. And I think if you're going to have a year where there are 5 or 6 Stephen King adaptations, you've got to have a very distinctive USP. And so, yeah, it's pleasing. I mean, this is definitely driving Glenn Powell as a vehicle, and he carries this film because, frankly, it is his story, his character's journey. And I think he plays a really interesting, conflicted, you could say, anti-protagonist. And yet, yeah, I think he is a really good action star. I think he definitely makes the action believable, but also adds that pathos and that conflict within the character because of the circumstances, because of who he's fighting for, and the fact that he exists in this wacky, over-the-top world where you have these ridiculous characters, and again, having Josh Brolin sort of be his foil, his, you know, as the corporate overseer who sort of represents the system. Again, it's interesting because I would have said Josh Brolin a couple of years ago, maybe a decade or so ago, would have been the Glenn Powell role, would have been perfect for it. And so it's quite a nice flip that they've made him the villain. And he, again, does really well with it. It's really fun. It's got some really good action. It's satire. Probably, if you take something like RoboCop as the gold standard of over-the-top, ridiculous action / satire, comedy, films, but with a real underlying message that people go back to within the satire. It isn't RoboCop, but it does try to hit the same level of this has something to say. And I think it does engage interesting ideas and reflect upon the world in which we live. Does it have the nuance and the impact of The Long Walk? Probably not. I think The Long Walk will sit with me a lot more because it is discussing similar-ish ideas about society, but this one is doing it in a lot more exaggerated way, whereas that one's much more underplayed. But I do think it's fun. I think it's a really decent film, and yeah, I had a real blast watching it, and think, yeah, I'm happy to watch Glenn Powell become the next big action star of our generation, if that's the direction he chooses to go.